Never judge life too soon. In a small village nestled among towering mountains, there lived a young boy named Sammy. He was quick to judge others, always forming opinions based on first impressions. Sammy's world was one of certainty, where appearances seemed to tell the whole story. One chilly afternoon, as he walked through the village, he saw a beggar sitting quietly on the corner of the street. The man's face was weathered with age, his clothes torn and filthy. His hands were stretched out, waiting for the kindness of strangers. Sammy looked at him and couldn't help but feel a sharp sense of disdain. What a lazy man, he thought. Why doesn't he try harder? He turned away, shaking his head, thinking the beggar had no ambition or drive. Little did Sammy know, life was about to teach him a lesson he would never forget. That evening, the village elders gathered for a meeting, and Sammy decided to sit in the back, curious but indifferent. As he entered the room, his heart skipped a beat. The beggar, the very man he had judged so harshly, walked in, not as a beggar, but as a respected elder. His ragged clothes were now replaced with the humble attire of someone who had once been a teacher, someone who had shared wisdom with generations. The beggar wasn't just an ordinary man, he was the heart of the village, the keeper of stories, and the holder of wisdom. Sammy felt his cheeks burn with embarrassment as the elder began to speak. The words that poured from his mouth were like gentle waves, each one soothing Sammy's heart. He spoke of life's struggles, of the harshness of illness that had taken his strength but not his spirit. He shared stories of resilience, of a life lived with patience, not defeat. His words stirred something deep inside Sammy, something he had never felt before. He was humbled, his soul aching with the weight of his own ignorance. When the elder finished speaking, he turned his gaze towards Sammy and offered a smile that carried both kindness and sadness. Never judge the surface, young one, the elder said softly. You see only what you want to see, but life is so much more. Beneath every struggle is strength, and behind every failure is the potential for greatness. Tears welled up in Sammy's eyes. He realized, in that moment, how wrong he had been. He had judged a man based on nothing but his appearance, and in doing so, he had missed the soul of who that person truly was. With a heart heavy with regret, Sammy approached the elder after the meeting, his voice shaky with emotion. I'm sorry, he whispered. I judged you without knowing your story. The elder placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, his eyes filled with understanding. You've learned, Sammy, that's what matters. From that day forward, Sammy saw the world through new eyes. He no longer rushed to conclusions or judged people based on what he saw. Instead, he listened, he learned, and he understood. His heart had opened, and in its place, he carried the wisdom of the elder that life, with all its mysteries, should never be judged too soon. And so, Sammy grew, his heart full of compassion and humility, teaching others to see beyond the surface, to understand that every life is a journey, not defined by the first glance but by the depths within.